But one day we should talk about the series of gimmick matches. Gimmick matches, I guess, really became a mainstay in the territory days because you had to have a way to get people to come back next week. These days, I guess we should say pre-COVID, you might see the quote unquote matches come to town once, twice, maybe three times a year. If you're a major market like Chicago, maybe the WWF hits you up three times a year. If you're New York, maybe four times a year. But in these smaller rural areas, now the territory days, well, you're in Pensacola every 7 days. You're in Chattanooga every 7 days. You're in Birmingham every 7 days. So the way you've got to get these same fans to keep going into their wallet and pulling new cash out to see the same old guys is you've got to put a little lipstick on. You got to put a little garnish on. You got to change it up a bit. And so it's necessary to add some of these quote unquote gimmick matches because it's not like you're going to bring in all new talent every 7 days. Right, Norn?
Correct. Correct. And if you go back and review just us talking about, on a previous episode about Pensacola and, how we built that program with Jerry and I and basically beating every babyface team that they could throw at us. And, the evolution of us being partners and adversaries and partners again and as heels. And now we're adversaries again. My deck had been shuffled so many times. They were just trying to surround me with new guys, new matches to at least make that be different.
Yeah.
Because, hey, they had done everything that most heels got a 6-month run. I'm past the year mark now. And most guys don't get a run like that. So they were, trying to prop me up with new partners and all kind of stuff just to keep it interesting. And because that's right. Every 7 days you were back in that town. So you had to have something different.
So let's talk through the different gimmick matches that we would see here. We've got a false count anywhere match between you and Mr. Olympia, and then a mask versus loser leaves town, and then taped fist, and then a stretcher, and then a cage. It's been my understanding, again, I don't know shit about wrestling. I'm just trying to learn. The cage match was usually reserved for the blow off. Is that right?
Usually.
So as we talk through these, tell me what makes a stretcher match special or unique, or how the match has to be structured differently.
Excuse me. Very simply, you fight out in the people, you fight out in the arena, and you finally do something using probably a piece of movable furniture to render your opponent unconscious to where he can be put on a stretcher and carried through the curtain, which means if you're going to do that to a baby face, you don't have to beat him 1, 2, 3. That is the positive for a stretcher match. And the drama during one of those, if done properly, is you have several less than bombs dropped on both guys, and they start up the aisle with the stretcher, and you think that's it. But no, the guy rolls off the stretcher, and you restart the match. So there's your drama for stretcher match.
Now, a taped fist match, obviously, you're going to have a totally different approach to a match like that. What are Arn Anderson's sort of rules of thumb for a tape fist match?
Bleed.
Okay.
A tape fist is, I guess, legitimately like having a roll of quarters in your hand. It makes your punch a lot more effective. It's a tighter, compact striking instrument. And that would usually be either one or both guys bleeding. So when you saw the word cage match or tape fist, as a fan, you went, somebody's going to bleed tonight. And about 9 out of 10 times or 10 out of 10 times in those days, you paid it off.
It's
You,
interesting to hear your psychology of how these matches are structured, but I can't wait to ask this one. Mask versus Loser Leaves Town, dot, dot, dot. But we ain't really leaving.
and we ain't really unveiling anybody that they don't know who's under the mask. And by the way, this is the greatest drinking instrument.
Oh, there you go. The old Four Horsemen Yeti Cup, available from
Brother,
boxgimmicks.com.
what made me want to mention that is it came in so handy at the beach this week. And I saw you drinking that $8 bottle of water that you're drinking over there.
Yeah.
That Fuji water. Does it really make you smarter?
No, it doesn't at all. This is what I we got a little, you hadn't been to the house in a while, but Megan's got this new like glass door merchandiser refrigerator in the laundry room. So it's just lined up with drinks. So there's like all these different bottles of water and there's different brands and stuff. I don't know why there's different brands, but I guess she likes the way these bottles fit on the shelf. So I got a bunch of Fiji water and some Coke Zeros and whatnot, and it's right by the studio. So before you and I clicked record, I went in there and grabbed one of each, and here we are. But no, I hear you. I need to break out I have an Arn tumbler. I don't have a Horseman one. I'm not to your level yet. So I just rock the Arn one.
Well, they're symbolic of each other.
They are. They kind of go hand in hand.
And you know why Megan puts all those assorted high dollar waters in that thing?
I have no idea.
Because she can.
Oh, there you go.
And not a word, young man. Don't die on that hill. That's for sure.
I'm not going to pick a fight about damn bottled water ever.
Good man.
Whatever you want, honey. I'm fine with it. Thank you for all you do.
So there we're skipping back to where we were. If you're an Arn Anderson fan, you want to see Jerry Stubbs get unmasked, not because I don't know that that's Jerry Stubbs at this point in time. It's the humiliation of getting your mask taken off. You know, in Mexico to this day, if you get unmasked, it is the big, other than getting your hair cut, I think, but having your identity unveiled is the biggest negative FU that you can possibly do in Mexican lucha libre wrestling, if that still holds true.
Yeah, it is the most shameful thing. It is the ultimate stipulation. It doesn't get any bigger than that. And here in Birmingham, it doesn't mean anything. It's
well, it means something to somebody. There's some luchadors hanging around that live there that it means something to them.
Again, and we've joked about this a lot before, but in the territory days, and I think Jeff and I were joking the other day about how many times Jerry Lawler wrestled Bill Dundee in a row in Memphis. So it's like on some level, I know tickets aren't expensive back then, but still it's like, golly, do I really want to go see that again? I've seen that same match 100 times. And it almost becomes like, well, hang on now, you hadn't seen this, because this time, if Lawler loses, he loses his hair. But if Dundee loses, his wife loses her hair. And what if she loses? I mean, we're going to skin Bill Dundee's wife's head. Come on. So people go in their pocket one more time and pay for the same thing. And it's something that we see even in modern wrestling. Gosh, I bet Randy Orton and John Cena headlined, I don't know, about 70 pay-per-views, but it was always something a little different. This time it's 2-on-1. This time, it's a lumberjack match. This time it's a chain match. This time it's the belts are hanging from the ceiling. It's the same thing, but with a, new coat of paint.
Different caveat.
Yes.
Yeah. And it was part of a package. There were 6 other matches or whatever the deal was. And yeah, it was just a way to freshen it up a little bit. And the reason, because I lost that loser leave match, loser leave town, I refused to leave.
Yes, which is great heel shit.
I'm not going anywhere.
No.
And on a shoot, I wasn't going anywhere because by then I had met Mrs. Anderson.
Okay, now let's time out. I want to come back to Mrs. Anderson. First, I want to mention that the no contest match you had with him on November 22nd, that's actually Thanksgiving night. So the loser leaves town thing happens a week later, but the big blow off, as we always say, the big, the cage match was usually the blow off. the cage match with you and Mr. Olympia happens on Christmas night. Now, some of our younger listeners are going to think, wait a minute, they were wrestling on Thanksgiving and Christmas? Arn, correct me if I'm wrong, but those are two of the biggest nights of the year, right?
Sign me up for those two holidays because they were exactly that.
Yeah.
Two of your biggest payoffs.